Hey everybody, welcome to the program, the Nosey Liberal. Just starting up, as you can see, and we're having a hell of a morning. Um, we have this part that is live right now, and we have a little bit of time before the rest of the program comes on the air. So there is that. And just a little bit of a rundown. So we're live. We're here. Um, it is the 1st of March. We made it to March without a new nuclear winter. Congratulations, you're all here. It's going to be an interesting State of the Union. We're going to have State of the Union fun. We're going to talk a little bit about that. What you want to see Joe Biden say is here. Joe Biden. If there's anything that you might be interested in, we'll dumpster dive into that as well. We're gonna discuss a lot of stuff, and it's gonna be an interesting show. I am using my angles. We have a new streaming service that we are using that I like a little bit better to get this going. So we're using that. You can in real time leave comments and I will see them. So, like, if you're watching the YouTube, Facebook stream in real time, you can actually leave comments. So, that's a new feature that we now have that we didn't before with the program. And I think that's pretty cool. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We got a lot of videos today. It's going to be a really interesting show, and we're going to also be taking your calls. I hope that you are participatory in the program as well. And I'm a little disorientated, I got to say, because I have like one side. I'm going to turn this one off here. Let's see. I'm going to go out of this and go into there and stay with this. Now that's a lot better. Okay. I'm a little disorientated because I have multiple computers now, and they're all doing the right thing. And it's very weird having computers do the right thing, like do what they're supposed to do. Never had that before. And it's a little shocking to the system when everything that you need to have work is working in the way you need it to work. And it's a nice thing, frankly. And I'm still totally uncomfortable being in front of the camera. So there's that. But when we come back at 6 o'clock after we start the live broadcast on FYNation.com, we'll get into more stuff and more news and topics and interesting debate. It should be a fun show. Lots of clips for you. I have the balls clip. So if you missed out on the balls, I do have the balls clip. I could not find the full clip where Donald Trump Jr. praises his daddy's balls, but that's probably for the best. Um, because really, we talked about this yesterday. Do you really want to deal with a situation where, excuse me, where you are literally listening to somebody praise their daddy's balls? Um, this is where we are, and where we're going. So it's going to be an interesting show. We got about 2 minutes left before we go live on FYNation.com. So there is that. Lots of things happening today. It's not a slow news day, that's for sure. It's a Tuesday. Tomorrow, Rick Smith will be on the program, and I can't wait for that. That's going to make interesting television and video for you all. He'll be on the program with us, and maybe we'll take some of your calls then too, which is something I really want to start doing. Like, I really want to start taking calls and being interactive and go from there, because like I said, the show is not about me. The show is about you, and it's a participatory show. So the only way to do that is if you participate. So we need to have a little bit more in that angle. I've been up all night, so this should make for an interesting program when we get into it live with the FYNation.com till noon. I have been up this, except for maybe 2 hours, I've been up the whole night. So it should be interesting. We're going to put our, we'll be right back. So I don't, of course, have that. So we're just going to play the straight theme from the show onto that, and then we'll do the other thing later because that was my fault. I deleted something that I had saved and didn't do it correctly. So that's always fun. And I am totally uncomfortable being in the camera, but it is what it is. So we're going to go live on FYI Nation any moment now. Just waiting for the clock to turn. And so I can start everything and deploy the music. And for the Nosey Liberal, I hope you like the music. I like the music. I don't know if you like the music, but let's play the music, shall we? And go from there. Hey, ho, ho, welcome to the program, the show. I'm the host. I'm Tom Reynolds, and you're welcome to it. With lots of stories and lots of things to cover and talk about today. It's going to be an interesting show. We did a intro show thing for people at 9 o'clock, and then we started live on FYNation.com, the main radio stream. So we're here, we're live. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're safe and sound wherever you may be. I am doing well, aside from not being able to sleep, but that is how it is, and such is the case here at FYNation.com. You can stream us on YouTube, Facebook, my personal Facebook, FY Nation like page, and we're on the Twitter stream. So right now we're in all those venues. And if you comment in the stream, I will see your comment and I will post them onto the show. In fact, let me get to the ability to do that, shall we? Just bear with me as I do that because that's something I forgot about to do. So we're going to enter studio and do it just like that. And there we are. So there we are. Yay. Technology. It's a wonderful thing. So if you decide that this is something you want to mention or talk about or anything of the nature, go right ahead, be my guest. Put me to the test, as they say. I want to hear from you. I definitely want to hear from you. We are doing the stream, and I'm a little discombobulated. Like I said, didn't get a lot of sleep, so it makes one have an interesting time of it, and it makes it very discombobulating when you're trying to do a morning show to be awake, and I have all this energy at night and I don't know what to do with myself, and yet here I am doing the morning show. So we're doing it. We're doing it live, and you can catch us on all the streaming platforms except Twitch. I don't do Twitch. So there's that. Yeah. So let's go to the first story, shall we? A lot to talk about. A lot of shit going on. Johnson, Pat Robertson, African refugees. A lot of shit going on in the news. But we're going to go to the first story, which is the African refugee story and fleeing Ukraine. This is from the Daily Mail. Corinne Sky, 26, a British Zimbabwean national who has been studying medicine in Ukraine since September, said the situation had deteriorated and become like an apocalypse movie with armed vigilantes roaming the streets. Miss Sky, mother of a 9-month-old baby, told The Independent that she had threatened at gunpoint due to the color of her skin by a local armed man as she tried to make her escape from the rapidly escalating conflict. Now, I doubt the Zimbabwean lady is a Russian commando. Just saying, I'm going out on a leap here. The Zimbabwean lady is just not a Russian commando, and this person is a racist. Meanwhile, Asmarin, a father of 3 and a Nigerian national, said he was family were asked to give up their seat on a cross-border bus out of Ukraine with the driver and the military officer using the phrase "no blacks" as justification. Yeah, I shit you not. This is 2022, and this is, I mean, there's a lot of praise for Ukraine and what they're going through, but to say there's no white supremacy involved in that region, you're deluding yourself. And this is right in your face, as close to the situation as you can get, where we have information of what's going on and proof in the pudding here. The current chair of the African Union, Senegalese President Macky Sall, and African Union Commission head Moussa Faki Mahamat said Monday that they were particularly disturbed by reports that African citizens on the Ukrainian side of the border are being refused right to cross the border to safety. So again, while all this praise is going on, and rightly so, to the Ukrainians who are fighting and everything else, we have a humanitarian crisis on top of a humanitarian crisis going on because these Africans, these native Africans, cannot go back to their home countries. And they're being forced to deal with intolerable situations. That doesn't sound too freedom-loving to me. You know, for a country that wants to be a part of the EU, do better. In time of crisis, maybe don't hate on the Africans. Maybe, just a thought. Responding to reports, African Union chief said in a statement, reports that Africans are singled out for unacceptable treatment would be shockingly racist and a breach of international law. Nigeria on Monday urged border officials in Ukraine and elsewhere to treat its citizens equally. There have been unfortunate reports of Ukrainian police and security personnel refusing to allow Nigerians to board buses and trains headed towards Ukrainian-Poland border. This is from a presidential advisor in a statement. She who referenced a video on social media where a Nigerian mother with a young baby was filmed being physically forced to give up their seat. Really? Ukraine, better. We're all with you, but this does not help. I mean, this is a conservative paper going after Ukraine, so I'm sure they have somebody involved. Do better. In a humanitarian crisis, don't compile an additional humanitarian crisis to something that's going on. Just don't do it. Don't add to this situation. There's no reason to add to this situation, Ukraine. There really isn't. And it's sad to see that this is happening. So let's try, I'm going to try something else while we're here. We're going to try and manipulate something. This is always fun. No, we're not going to do that. That would be scary. So, it makes the situation worse, is what I'm saying. And it's unnecessary for Ukrainians to be behaving this way in a time of crisis. Africans are not your enemy. And up till like minutes ago, you were treating them as neighbors in this situation. So what the fuck? So there's that. Then we have Donald Trump and his balls. I have to talk about the balls of Donald Trump. I do this as an educational vehicle, not for clickbait or radio bait or anything like that. I do this because I care. And we have to show that we care. So let's add this to the stream. This is Donald Trump at CPAC talking about daddy.
That is it, folks.
Just bear with me.
The reason it didn't happen under Trump. People understand strength. They understand resolve. They understand balls. You got to say it.
Did you get that? So what he said, for those
the reason it didn't happen under Trump,
is
people
understand strength, people understand resolve, people understand balls. Talking about his father. I don't understand. I would never imagine Mike Reagan talking this way about Ronald Reagan, or Ron Reagan talking about Ronald Reagan in this manner. I don't see it as a thing, as something that would happen. And I don't understand why it is the way it is. So that, talk about your dad's balls? Really? How cringe is that? In a national spotlight. This is a child talking about their parent. You can say he's strong without using that metaphor. You can do a lot of ways to talk about your parental unit without saying, my daddy has big balls. Aren't they huge? I mean, come on, really? How pathetic are you? I mean, this is where we're at. Where he has to genuflect that low to his father? Like, I understand and get the need to want to praise your parental unit. I get the need to want to say nice things about your parent. I get the need to want to be on the good side of your parent, to make them feel like you're in a productive relationship with your parent. I get all that, right? I get that. What I don't understand is, and maybe somebody could call up and tell me, what I don't understand, or tweet me at #FYLive, call me at FY Nation on Skype. And yes, to the person in the two B-tubes, I am FYI. Samira Samasilva Nova. I am FYI. They asked this. You're FYI? Yes, I am. IMFY. So there's that. But to talk about his balls is really as weird, and a lot of weird shit happened in the past 48 hours. But to talk about his daddy's balls is as weird as Pat Robertson coming out of retirement. And this actually happened on the 700 Club, and I have the clips to prove it. Pat Robertson came out of retirement to praise Vladimir Putin while calling him crazy. Yes, I shit you not. He did this. He did that. He praised Vladimir Putin while simultaneously calling him crazy. Here's Pat Robertson. Let's get to the right clip here. Uncle Pat, let's go. He's not answering a question. He's praising Putin. And here we go. Uncle Pat.
Putin's out of his mind, yes, maybe so. But at the same time, he's being compelled by God. He went into the Ukraine, but that wasn't his goal. His goal was to move against Israel ultimately. And God is getting ready to do something amazing, and that will be fulfilled. And what Putin is doing by moving as he is to set up Ukraine as a staging ground for one of the armies, and then across is Erdogan at Turkey, and you've got between them that little Dardanelles area, and it's going to happen. So I just say that is what's coming up. Is Putin crazy? Is he mad? Well, perhaps. But God says, I'm going to put hooks in your jaws, and I'm going to draw you into this battle, whether you like it or not. And he's being compelled after the move into the Ukraine, he's being compelled to move again to get a land bridge and then across the Dardanelles with Turkey, and watch what's going to happen next. You read your Bible because it's coming to pass.
So you read your Bible, it's coming to pass, according to Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson, the guy who has predicted the end of the world and has been wrong before, is predicting that Vladimir Putin has invaded Ukraine because he wants to run into Israel, I guess? Is that where we're going? Like, this is the end times? This is the signal? I mean, Pat, I think you need the meds, is what I think is going on here. I think you need the meds, because I don't think this is more batshit crazy. I mean, there is a lot of batshit crazy going around on the internets, on the right wing world, but this is some batshit crazy. Putin has designs forced by God, that is commanded by God, to go into Ukraine and then go into yada 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 and get, I don't know, the Heavenly Father down from above? What? Dude, stay in retirement. You were better not going on the air. You, and this is from somebody who hates being on the camera, by the way. You were better not going on the air. You do not need to go and do this to yourself. There's no reason for it. There is absolutely no reason for Pat Robertson to come out of... He broke the freaking emergency glass. And he came on the air to give this message of, well, Putin's bringing on the Armageddon? But he may or may not be crazy? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? And they say people that are trans have a mental disorder? I'm sorry, you might be a little mental when you're coming to me with Jesus and Putin have to mix it up to get into this divine situation. I'm just saying, you might be a little mental. I don't know about religion so much as you want to believe in your God and Jesus and Muhammad and whatever you want to believe in, go for it. Go believe. Believe, believe, believe. You want to read the Torah? Go ahead. Be my guest. But when you come into Armageddon with Vladimir Putin as the key note speaker, what is he? Is he the Gozerian? I don't understand this. Somebody much smarter in religiosity needs to explain this to me, because I do not understand it. I have no sense of this whatsoever, what Pat Robertson is talking about. But apparently Putin is a part of the divine plan. That's the important part. The important part is Putin is a part of the divine plan. And it doesn't matter that he's crazy, but what he's doing now is what matters. What the fuck? And he came out of retirement. He broke the glass emergency button. And he said, the apocalypse is a-coming. The apocalypse is a-coming. This is why I need to be on the TV machines. Because I got to tell everybody the apocalypse is a-coming. Are you fucking kidding me, Pat Robertson? You see innocent people getting bombed and drafted and everything else, and your siren call is the apocalypse is a-coming? You're out of your fucking mind. You are out of your fucking mind. So you could leave a comment in the comment section of the FYI live stream. We're live on FYNation.com and on live stream. We're here. We're talking about the crazy, and it certainly is crazy today. We will have some breaks in between the streams, and that will occur. I'm not there yet. I'm full of energy today. Rick Smith will be here tomorrow in the 10:30 time slot of the show. 3 hours now. So you got to put up with me for 3 hours on FYNation.com. And I thank you guys for doing that. And I think we finally got things going the way they need to go for everything to work out the way it needs to work out. So I really appreciate that too. And this ugly duckling here is just moseying right along to our next story. But Pat Robertson, Jesus Christ. Literally. Jesus Christ. So, we're going to talk a lot about Ukraine, but we have to not neglect climate change. Climate change is a big issue. It's not going away. I know the right wants you to think that climate change is going to go away, the fate of the dodo bird, and you're not going to have to worry about it, and you don't have to worry about climate change. And why are you going to worry about climate change? It's an unnecessary thing to worry about. And I need to do something about my Captain Elvis sideburns. I really do. So there's that. I like how that person left your FYI and then left. But this story here, The story here from The Guardian. See, I don't use all right-wing places, although I do like my right-wing places. The story here from The Guardian. The IPCC issues bleakest warning yet on the impacts of climate breakdown. So as all this is going on, and the right wing is telling me, you need to release America's gas, we should be pumping oil and pumping natural gas, and we should be defeating Putin at the pump, and we should be going after Vladimir Putin, and blah, 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 blah. They're telling me this, telling me this, telling me this. Even at current levels, human actions in heating and climate are causing dangerous and widespread disruption, threatening devastation to swaths of the natural world and rendering many areas unlivable, according to the landmark report published Monday. The scientific evidence is unequivocal. Climate change is a threat to human well-being and the health of the planet. Hans Otto Portner, a co-chair of the working group of the two IPCC, said, any further delay in concerted global action will miss a brief and rapidly closing window. I'm thinking of nuclear winter as we speak. A rapidly closing window to secure a livable future. So here I am thinking of nuclear winter on the FINation.com radio show. Nosey Liberal. One hell of a morning show, huh? We're talking about fucking nuclear winter. In what some scientists termed the bleakest warning yet, the summary report from the Global Authority on Climate Science says droughts, floods, heat waves, and other extreme weather are accelerating and wreaking increasing damage. So what, pray tell, will nuclear winter in Ukraine do for the situation? Apparently, I asked that, and the live blog from The Guardian, as I'm reading, says the live Russia-Ukrainian war latest, Moscow tells Kyiv residents to leave and threatens high-precision strikes. So they're going to commit war crimes. So they're basically saying, get the fuck out or we're going to commit war crimes. I don't have any other translation other than that. It's get the fuck out of Kyiv or we're going to commit war crimes. And meanwhile, we have a climate crisis that if we just ignore and we give up on fighting, and we go after American fossil fuels and dump them into Europe, everything will be fine. And Putin will be taken care of. John Kerry, the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, said the report paints a dire picture of the impacts already occurring because of warmer world and terrible risks of our planet if we continue to ignore science. We have seen the increase in climate-fueled extreme events and the damage that it left behind. Lives lost and livelihoods ruined. The question at this point is whether or not we can altogether avoid the crisis. It is whether or not we can avoid the worst consequences. So we have on the right, if you just open up the spigot for the oil and gas, everything will be well in Europe, and you'll be able to stop Vladimir Putin. That's what they say on the right. If you just open the spigot you'll be able to stop Vladimir Putin. It's untrue. And it causes more damage. But to go a step further, this dude was talking trash about Greta Thunberg. Thunberg? Did I say her name right? I apologize if I didn't. She's the climate activist and basically all around go-to person for climate action in the European stage and the world right now. And the right wing can't fucking handle it. The right wing can't handle two things. They can't handle that it's a young woman. They can't handle that it's a woman. They can't. They just cannot deal with the situation. So what do? They flip out on Greta Thunberg. My apologies. So let's add this. And this guy was on Steve Bannon's show talking trash about her. So let's add it.
Direct causal link between Greta Thunberg at the UN podium with the tears down her cheeks, saying "How dare you!" Between that and all the damage she's been doing throughout Europe and the world, pushing for climate fanaticism, and Vladimir Putin's dominance and being able to invade Ukraine last week. A direct causal link. We had this.
So Ben Harwell believes there's a direct causal link, and I apologize for the sound if there's a little choppiness. And I will repeat for those, we're getting used to the stream and how we do things on this computer. I think I'm going to use a different computer to stream tomorrow and go from there to make things a little easier. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that now and make that work and just do the rest of the stream the way I need to do it so you guys can hear it a little better for the audio. But Ben Harwell, the editor over at wherever the fuck he is, Steve Bannon's InfoWars Junior place, is basically pitching a fit on Greta Thunberg and trying to say that there is some kind of causal link between Greta, and they cannot handle a woman in any type of situation that has a power base. They can't handle Nancy Pelosi. They can't handle Hillary Clinton. They can't handle Stacey Abrams. They can't handle Elizabeth Warren. They cannot handle any woman with any, and this is on the right. They never give them enough power base, so you can't say they can't handle it because they never give them the reins. Sarah Palin, please, don't even. One hit wonder. They cannot handle a strong activist woman on the right. So they attack. They go on the attack. On the far right, Greta Thunberg. For no reason other than she tearfully made a statement. And now they link it. This is as farcical as linking Vladimir Putin to the second coming of Jesus Christ, which Pat Robertson tried to do. Pat Robertson tried to link the second coming of Jesus Christ to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And we played that audio for you. Now we have the right wing, I can't even remember his name. And I don't feel like pulling it up. This right wing Jackal. Basically trash talking a young girl. How do you do that? How do you trash talk somebody who is a young person who has no defense of themselves? Who's out on the world stage trying to defend the planet? Who has no defense of itself? The only thing the planet can do is react to the menace, which is humans, and go after that. For fuck's sake. So here we have on FYNation.com the lunacy of the right wing, where one angle you have blaming of women, and the other angle you have Putin is coming down the trough because Jesus? Lord. We're not done with climate change. We're not done talking about climate change. I just need to find the other story. If I can. Asshole, I can't find the story. Oh, here it is. Found it. Right in front of me. Right in front of me. So this story about SCOTUS and the vote and the right wing attacking the EPA, basically. They're going after the EPA. And I watched this very peculiar news item on One American News because I hate myself. And I was watching One American News because I hate myself. And I recorded this whole propaganda piece where they made it very benign. Right? They made the argument very benign for the low information person to basically just say, well, in this case with the Supreme Court, we're just trying to have Congress decide. We don't actually want to do anything where it might actually upset the balance of power. We want Congress and states' rights to be able to decide on what's going on with the climate issue. We want to do that. Now, there would be nothing wrong with that if Republicans were not beholden to the oil and gas industry. But Republicans are beholden to the oil and gas industry. And when you talk about states' rights and they're saying the government bureaucrat, you don't want the government bureaucrat in charge. Yeah, I kind of do. I want a government bureaucrat who's going to take seriously a catastrophic event, a cataclysmic event. So this right-wing opinion piece, or this opinion piece on the right wing, better phrasing, for a radio show host, for fuck's sake, Tom. So, does the Environmental Protection Agency have authority to calculate CO2 emissions targets for power plants based on mitigation techniques involving steps beyond the fence line of individual plants? That's the question that's being asked before the Supreme Court. I know it's a morning show, your eyes glazed over, but the question is, does the Environmental Protection Agency have the authority to calculate CO2 emissions for power plants based on mitigation techniques involving steps beyond fence line of individual plants. That is the question. Broadly, what power does the federal government have to deal with problems? That's the question, which is before the Supreme Court, and specifically the problem of climate change. Specifically, the problem of climate change. Does the Supreme Court have the testicular fortitude to tell the federal government where to go? Does the agency have the ability to address problems? Or is it toothless? No judging me. That being said, a little self-deprecating humor there. That being said, it's frustrating that we are dealing with this case because what they want to do on the right is take away the power of the federal government on a broad legal question. And cockblock the EPA. And basically say, no, you can't regulate pollutants. You can't identify the best way to reduce CO2 for power plants. You can't do any of that. You can't work to, you as the federal government cannot work to meet the Paris Climate Accords. You cannot do any of that. You are the big bad government. And us states, we have the right. We have the right, the right wing is saying, with Congress to make the laws. Are going after instead of just abolishing the department like they say they want to at every presidential debate, they're trying to take the legs out from under the department of the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. They want it to be called the Environmental Agency, basically. And they want to drop that whole P part, protection. Because if it's allowed to be the Environmental Protection Agency, then they have power in the federal government, and conservatives can't have that. Conservatives are not allowed to have the federal government have any type of power because states' rights. And it's a damn shame. Talked about balls earlier and how apparently Donald Trump has balls. They're going to cut the balls off of the EPA. Is what they're going to do. They're going to cut the balls off the EPA, and I'm terrified. I'm terrified that they're going to do it. I am mortified that they're going to do it. And then we will have no oversight And this is what they want. They don't want oversight, governmental oversight. They don't want it on energy. They don't want it on roads and bridges. They don't want it. They don't want it anywhere. I mean, and we have proof of this when Donald Trump does not archive his papers that he's supposed to archive, but actually goes and just gets rid of them and rips them up. This is Donald Trump. This is the Republican Party. They are no different. Stop telling yourself they are different. They are no different. By the way, you can find that story in the hashtag FYI Live. I tweeted it out for you guys. And you can join me in the Facebook Live or the YouTube. You can watch me. You can listen to the show on FYNation.com, which I thank those who are doing. You can give me a call at FYNation on Skype or hashtag FY Live and send me a tweet. If you post to the comment section, I will see the comment in the little comment area and I will post the comment in the video. So there's that. Lots of ways to participate in the show if you want to. If you want to just listen or watch, you could just listen or watch. That is equal participation. And I'm glad you're here participating with the program. I do this because there's participation. If there was none at all, I wouldn't do this show. And you guys have shown me you want a morning show that is not talking at you. We talk with you. And we would never be so bold to talk at you. So there's that. So now we go to some more crazy batshit, not so shit that the right wing has said. I'm gonna wait on the story because I want to get into the next hour. I find it fascinating that a Republican who wants to regulate the womb of a woman cannot handle any other regulation. Right? They want to constantly, they want to regulate what bathrooms people use. They want to regulate anything to do with the genitalia of people. If it has to do with the genitalia of people, the Republican Party is all for regulating it. If it has to do with fossil fuels, if it has to do with something meaningful, oh my God, we can't have regulation. Because that is then interference. If we want to regulate guns and make guns more safer, can't do that. Can't do that. Not allowed. It's ridiculous. And these are the same people who believe Pat Robertson about the second coming of Christ because of Vladimir Putin, for Pete's sake. Unbelievable. But they don't want regulations of the EPA. They want to cut the balls off the EPA. They're happy to do that with regulation. It's really sad. It really is. It really should discourage you from politics, but instead it encourages me because I get more people out there who want to do better and want us to do better and want us to go further. And that encourages me. So I'm thrilled with that. But man, these Republicans, they really just, I don't like Tara has a harsher tone with Republicans than I do. And I guess it's because I was one once that I'm willing to have a possible discussion with them. Like, I'm willing to say, okay, what can we do that we can agree on? Is there anything we can find common ground on? And then I see their behavior, and it's just like, I don't know where to stand with these people. Like, I really want to be open-minded and be on the level with all people. That everybody has an opportunity to be able to get health care, live in a free society, be able to love who they want to love, be able to identify as they choose to identify. And these people on the right just make it so very hard to find common ground and to find a way to deal with them. They make it hard. You know, and it's just like, it sucks. It sucks when you're trying to find common ground with somebody who just doesn't give a damn. Unless you're doing it exactly the way that they want you to do it. Then you're good. Then you're okay. Sometimes I wonder why I do this show. But I know that we have to have a discussion. And we have to bring about change. And the only way we can have a discussion and bring about change is have a dialogue and have an open dialogue. And that's what this show is for. The show is ultimately for an open dialogue of people to be able to go forth. And hopefully we'll get to that point. My name is Thomas Reynolds. You're listening to The Nosey Liberal, or watching The Nosey Liberal, and we will be right back in about 2 minutes.
Heroes, tune in to the Rick Smith Show every weeknight from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. That's Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. right here on commercial-free FYINation.com, your liberal lion for all things talk radio. The Rick Smith Show is commercial-free thanks to your generous donations to FYINation.com. The Rick Smith Show is where working people come to talk. You can find FYINation.com on your smart device and listen to me host, Rick Smith, weeknights 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on FYINation.com. FYINation.com is communication with motivation.
Hey, ho, ho, welcome to the program. Let's see, we are live and we're here. Are you there? I hope so. I hope you're here. Lots to talk about still in our second hour. Remember tomorrow, Rick Smith, whose promo you heard, will be with us. Rick Smith will be with us live on the program, and I cannot wait. So I was asking before the show, like, can we have a dialogue with these people? Can we have a conversation with the right wing? And because so many things are like needed to have a dialogue with and conversation with the right wing, and it's really important that we do that. I mean, there's certain things we can find common ground on, I'm sure, like whether or not Pfizer is telling the truth about their vaccine for kids, whether or not we should, I don't know, trust all people in the government if they have our best interests at heart, stuff like that. So, number governor Steve and his family were out at a dinner, and as you do in Las Vegas, you go out with your family, and it did very quickly. And this is why I don't believe we can have discussions with the right. Why it's harder and harder to do. Police are investigating after a man filmed himself confronting Governor Steve Sisolak, who was with his wife in Florida at the Lindo Makoshin restaurant in Summerlin, Las Vegas. The man identified by the News Journal as alt-right conspiracy theorist Justin Anderich filmed himself putting his arms around Sisolak as he pretends he wants a selfie before turning on the Democratic governor and making violent threats towards him. "We should string you up by lamppost right now," he shouted while following Sisolak and his wife as they exit the restaurant. "You working for China, son of a bitch." The last comment appears to have been targeting as his wife, Kathy Sisolak, former municipal finance specialist of the Chinese heritage, who has been accused of the far right from benefiting from the state's mask mandate. Imagine that. An elected official in rural Nye County, Donna Cox, claimed last August that Kathy Sisolak had family members in China profiting from the COVID-19 PPE and persuaded her husband to reinstate the mask mandate. There's no proof of this allegation. The governor has since denounced the racist threat against his wife after the restaurant confrontation. The video in the parking lot, Sisolak's daughter, Ashley Sisolak, a lawyer and a public defender, to the governor and his wife near their vehicle, and the man turns away. He said, because your daughter's with you, I'm going to leave you alone now. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reported that it obtained the cell phone video Sunday of the incident. The newspaper characterized the encounter as violent. Thing. See, this is why I ask. Why I asked the question. Why I posed the question. Can we have a discussion with these people? Like, can we talk with these? Can we talk? As Joan Rivers used to say, can we talk? Can we have a discussion with the right wing? Can we have a discussion here? It's vital, I think. These people want recognition, they want fame, they want fortune, they want the American dream. They're okay at people who are different from them. They're okay going after people who don't meet their views and making outlandish claims about them as they do it. It's sick. It's really sick that in Nevada, the governor was accosted in this way because of lies that were told about his family. And it's equally sick that Republicans capitalize on shit like this on a regular basis, and they don't think that there are going to be any repercussions. Like, they don't put on their thinking cap to figure out that maybe talking trash about a Democratic opponent, the way I talk trash about a Democratic opponent, is going to get the Democratic opponent accosted by some crazy right-winger. Don't think about the consequences. They never think about the consequences, the Republicans. The Republicans never once consider the consequences. They never once consider the consequences. It's funny, speaking of consequences, I'm going to tell a little story. This just happened in my work situation that I'm in right now. I literally have made no money since I quit my job. Everything has gone out to bills. Everything has gone out to bills. And I had to let a company go that I was doing business with that believes I owe them money. It would be nice if we made money together, or any of the things actually happened for me to get paid to pay them. But I didn't get paid by my vendors. So I couldn't pay them. So now they're calling me a scam. So you have to be careful of how you talk to someone and how you do business with them. And it goes to this particular thing too. Like, I would happily pay people if I got paid, if I didn't get scammed. Had I not had money on my own, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. But these people just think that think that they can get away with saying and doing however they want to do. Whether it's a business relationship, whether it's a personal relationship, people think because the internet especially, they're going to go viral by doing something insane. Like they just posted on that I'm a scammer and all this other stuff. In fact, they posted everything that was true. There's no money I cannot pay. It's not as if it's not as if I'm Donald Trump and leaving all my vendors out there. And this hurts too, by the way. I'm talking about this because this hurts. And it's very personal. But it's not as if I'm out there going after people. To scam them. Like we've talked about on this show. Like I'm not like accusing somebody of doing something wrong that was not done wrong. Actually done wrong. Like I got scammed. There are two victims in this. We're both victims. Just because I get scammed and I can't do something for another person does not equate I'm a scammer. You see? Just because, like in this story from the Review Journal, just because Sisolak's wife worked in the municipal finance specialist does not equate her benefiting from a mask mandate. Nobody can ever get to how. Nobody can ever tell you like how you benefit or how you've been wrong or how this thing has occurred. People like to throw an accusation. And it really sucks. And because of the internet, people think they can get away with saying anything. And they think they could do anything. Instead of having like an honest dialogue. Like I tried explaining my situation. They don't want to hear it. It's a thing that happens in business. Business fold all the time. But my business basically folded over this past month. Essentially folded. Because I couldn't keep it operational because I couldn't pay the bills. Because I didn't get paid. Businesses fold. That does not make you any less of an entrepreneur or less of a person. That does not make you a scam artist. It makes you a human being. What makes you a scam artist is being like Donald Trump and like not paying your vendors at all. Having claims of billions and billions of dollars. I'm not going around saying I have billions of dollars and not paying vendors. Nor would I do that. Because karma, Jesus. Karma alone. That being said, you got to be careful with people that you do business with. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that people think they can just say whatever and however they want and behave however they want on the internet. And apparently, people think I have this clip that this dude went on, I'll get his name from the video, but this guy went on right-wing Fox News, and he went on Trey Gowdy's show. Trey Gowdy has a show now. He's former representative of, I forget what state, some flyover country state that tells me that I can't be non-binary, I'm sure, and my girlfriend can't go in the bathroom of her choice because of her identity. And it's not really the bathroom of her choice, it's the bathroom that she feels safest in. I'm sure Trey Gowdy lives in that state. And state of mind, for that matter. But here is this guy on Fox News who went complete, like, Trey Gowdy's eyes bulge out. And he can't, like, handle this guy's, just outright bullshit. And I'm surprised he didn't cut his mic. Here's the clip. Let's get to it here. Load up here, and we're going to load the clip.
Usual effort to demonize him and his country. We need to remember that Ukraine is fourth from the bottom of 158 countries in the world as corrupt. Russia is perhaps 3 or 4 places above them. This is not the liberal democracy, the shining example that everyone says it is. Far from it. Mr. Zelensky has jailed journalists and his political opposition. I think we need to stay out of it. The American people think we should stay out of it. The Europeans think we should stay out of it. And we should stop shipping weapons and encouraging Ukrainians to die in what is a hopeless endeavor.
So when you say stay out of it, you mean no sanctions, no military aid, just let Russia take the portion of Ukraine they want to take?
Yes, absolutely. I see no reason why we should fight with the Russians over something that they have been talking about for years. We simply chose to ignore it. And more important, the population there is indistinguishable from their own. You know.
So, Dougie here, Doug McGregor, a retired colonel, was on Trey Gowdy's show, basically saying, "Yeah, fuck them, fuck them. They don't need our help. They don't need our aid. They don't need any of that. Fuck them. Just let the Russians come in. They're basically the same. That's like saying someone from New York and Texas the same because they're American. When this guy McGregor is talking about Ukraine and the Ukrainians, he's so flippant. He's dismissing them. An entire people. McGregor is. Just out of hand. Dismissing an entire country. No, we don't. Russia's been telling us they're going to do this. Why should we do this? Russia should just not have any sanctions. Russia should just whatever they want. Vladimir is doing what he said he was going to do. Why are we interfering? And by the way, most Americans think we shouldn't interfere. Now that part is kind of true. All right. This is a poll from CNN. This is a poll from CNN that I got from Breitbart. I know, Breitbart, yikes. But this is a poll from CNN that I got from Breitbart. And the poll from CNN that I got from Breitbart, direct intervention is not what Americans. Again, let me repeat that because it's very clear that a majority of Americans in this poll oppose direct intervention to stop Russia. And I'm one of them. The CNN poll found that 62% of Americans think the U.S. should do more to stop the Russian military actions that is currently happening in Ukraine, while 38% of Americans think the U.S. has already done enough, like McGregor. McGregor thinks the U.S. has gone too far. McGregor is a putz. However, when asked if the respondents would favor or oppose U.S. taking direct military action to stop Russia if the economic sanctions do not work, only 42% said they favored action as a majority. 58% said they would oppose any military action. Additionally, there is a majority consensus that most people have a growing fear of Russian aggression. An overwhelming majority, 77%, said they are worried that the war in Ukraine would lead to Russian attacks elsewhere, while only 23% said that they are not worried, and those people are like McGregor, and they are putzes. Furthermore, 80% said that they are worried that war in Ukraine would lead to a border war in Europe, while only 20% say they are not worried because they have their head in the sand. My commentary. There were also 72% who said they are worried that the war in Ukraine would threaten U.S. national security. The CNN poll was conducted between the 25th and 26th of February with 1,001 adults in the U.S. through text messages. So, I don't know how reliable that is. But McGregor says, just give it all to Russia. And if you ask Breitbart, the way Breitbart paints it, Breitbart says, just give it all to Russia. Fuck Ukraine. We don't want nothing to deal with nothing. The way they frame this article. That is simply a poll. We don't want to deal with nothing. And I'm one of those people who does not want direct military intervention. But that is a very clear line in the sand. Like, I am talking direct military intervention. And what direct military intervention to me is something like what Jen Psaki is asked about with this clip here that we're going to play next. Just bear with me. My computer is running slightly faster, which is always nice. I should have gotten more memory for this. I love this new computer, but sometimes I wish I added a little bit more memory than I did. That being said, here is Jen Psaki talking about a kind of war that we should not get into ever.
Is there any way in which the...
Let's try that again. Come on, Psaki. Let's suck it to me. That probably does not sound right at all, does it? I gotta stop saying that. Come on. Let's work here. Let's try it this way here. Just bear with me. And it's not gonna load. I just stream. Alright, we don't need both of my pictures up there. Move. Just bear with me. My computer is just acting a fool here. I apologize. Let's see why this is. That just disappeared all the video. Let's try this. And let's try. Well, we are still live, which is nice. That's always nice. So we're having a little bit of a technical malfunction, as one does when we are live and doing video. But we are handling it. We are handling it. Just bear with me here as we get the clip. Gotta love the technical difficulties during a live show. So let me get the clip, and then let me get this up. And let me apologize for the little snafu. I hate little snafus. They are annoying. And this is what happens when you're doing a live show. Snafus happen. So, there's that. And we don't want. And, okay. And remove. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties abound. Now we got that working again. And we go to the clip. What we don't want is shit like this to happen while we're live. What we don't want is an air war, and this is what they're
Is there any way in which the U.S. would support a no-fly zone over Ukraine?
Well, here's what's important for everybody to know about a no-fly zone. What that would require is implementation by the U.S. military. It would essentially mean the U.S. military would be shooting down planes, Russian planes. That is definitely escalatory. That would potentially put us into a place where we're in a military conflict with Russia. That is not something the president wants to do.
So that's a no on that.
Those are all the reasons why that's not a good idea.
Let me follow up with you on the military tactics here. I think that the world has been so stunned by waking up morning after morning to President Zelensky, who is defiant and who reports that the Ukrainian forces are fending off Russia. Is it possible, Jen, do you think, for them to hold Russia off long enough for international forces to stop him? Or do you think it's a matter of time before Russia overwhelms Ukraine?
We still, first, President Zelensky, the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian military, they've been incredibly courageous. They have stood up to one of the world's most powerful militaries on the ground in Ukraine. But our assessment has not changed, that Russia, President Putin, the military has every intention of taking Kyiv, and they are continuing to make progress.
Given that, was it a tactical error, Jen, for the U.S. not to say it is possible we would send in military forces? Should the president not have taken that off the table, at least in terms of what he was saying? We haven't for Taiwan, for example.
Well, the president wants to be direct, has always wanted to be direct with the American people about what he will do and what he will not do. He is not sending U.S. forces, men and women who fight for our military, into Ukraine to fight a war with Russia. We are not going to have a military war with Russia with U.S. troops. And he thinks it's vitally important and first and foremost important to be direct with the public about that.
So he's being direct and he's being honest. And most Americans oppose direct intervention. Most Americans oppose an air war, a no-fly zone. Most Americans are smart about saying no to the no-fly zone. It's not something we want to deal with. They want to say no to the no-fly zone. And that's correct. And that is, again, the correct way of thinking. You don't want to add a possible World War III apocalyptic Pat Robertson thing to the mix. And that's what they're talking about. They are talking about adding an apocalyptic thing to the mix. And we're trying to avoid that. We're desperately trying to make that not happen on the Democratic side. And only up until recently had the Republicans been on the side of, yeah, let's go after the Russians for what they're doing. Only very recently. So there's that. And then we go to the next story, which is another poll, which I agree with. This is another poll, and this is a correct poll. And this is, one of those things where I'm okay with. And this poll I get from the Blaze. Again, I find myself weirdly fascinated when I agree with these people on the right wing, which gives me hope for dialogue. Like I want to see some kind of actual dialogue. I want that to actually take place and be a thing. Now, of course, the Blaze, like Breitbart, got a poll from somebody else because God forbid they conduct their own polls, and be a legitimate news outlet. They couldn't dare do that. So there's that. And this poll says a whopping 70% say U.S. troops should get off if Russia invades a NATO member. This is the Quinnipiac University poll. Quinnipiac College is in Connecticut. I'm in Connecticut, KFINation.com. And this poll I agree with. This is not direct intervention. This is not like, say, let's create a no-fly zone and let's go after the Russians and let's do this thing the way a totalitarian would do it and bring about the apocalypse. This is saying U.S. troops should get involved if Russia mounts an invasion against a NATO nation. Percent are saying that. Percent are wrong. I applaud their willingness to go it alone, and for whatever reason, maybe they're wanting peace. Maybe they just don't want war. But the whole point of NATO is to have a system where we have a group that fundamentally, and my hair is driving me nuts tonight. We have a group that fundamentally does the right thing. Of people that come to each other's aid should something happen. 63% of Americans concerned Russia may use nuclear weapons. 7 out of 10 Americans say U.S. troops should get involved if Russia invades NATO. 7 out of 10. Very smart people. Very fine people. We need a I am the first person to say we need a peaceful solution to this problem. I'm not an enemy of the Russian people. I hate these sanctions. These sanctions drive me as nuts as my hair is driving me right now. I hate the idea of sanctions. But I also am a realist in a situation where it's not going to get any better by hoping against hope freedom will reign. It's just not that way. Vladimir Putin, by all accounts, is as crazy as Pat Robertson talking about the apocalypse coming for Jesus' second coming. Let's be honest about that. We have to be able to recognize the situation at hand. And a 7 out of 10 is a pretty good, reliable number to say maybe just maybe, we should not do this damn silly thing. Yeah. I don't think we should. But if it comes to this damn silly thing in this damn silly way, let's do it because our ally needs our help. And McGregor, asshat that he is just Doug is wrong. And it's pathetic. And it's sad. And it's really despicable that he is willing to go that route. And it's frustrating as hell that they allow, like, Trey Gowdy was visibly shook by what Doug McGregor was saying about just ignore him, just let him take Ukraine. But there are people who believe that. There are people on both sides, on the left and the right, who believe, you know what? Just let them do it. Stay out of it. But at some point, you need to act for humanity. Now, I wish the same outrage was bore out for Syria and Yemen, but they're not that white. Let's be honest. They're not that white. Their pigment is off. If you're going to be honest about why we do things the way we do, is because of race. If this was happening in Africa right now, I can guarantee you 1,000% the outcry would not be there. 1,000%. And even with Thailand, or with Thailand, with I want to say the name of the country and I can't think of it, with China and, oh my God, my mind just went blank. Taiwan. That's the name of the country. Even with Taiwan, most Americans could care less if China went in to Hong Kong or Taiwan and just took it over, which essentially they've done with Hong Kong. There's not been a large outcry like with Ukraine. And I, again, go to, it is because of the pigment of their skin. And you're not going to get me to believe otherwise. There's no way. There's no way you're going to get me to believe otherwise. And it drives me nuts that there are people who think otherwise. That we're going to go in for freedom and wipe the map with it and do all this stuff when it's just not true. There's not, like, we're not going to do anything. We say we're going to defend Taiwan, but I don't believe it. When push comes to shove, I don't believe we're not going in for Ukraine, which is in Europe. We're not going to go in for Taiwan. I'm just, you can mark my words on it. China invades. We're not going to do it. There's no want to do it. There's no, it's racism. It comes down to that. If you're going to be honest about the situation, it comes down to racism. And you can't not admit to that it comes down to racism. You have to be willing to look yourself in the eye and say, you know what? Taiwan is fucked. Just like Hong Kong is fucked. And the reason being, race. Have that heart-to-heart with yourself real quick, because we're not going into Taiwan. We might have some fancy posturing and might rattle or saber here and there, but we're not going to war with China over Taiwan. Putin knows it. Xi Jinping knows it. Joe Biden knows it. Kamala Harris knows it. Donald Trump knows it. It's not going to happen. And it's because of race. If they were white, I'd have a different opinion. And it only goes to the story that we did before, that this guy just believes the worst about this Democratic governor's wife because she's of Asian descent. And she must be a scammer. And it goes back to the question, can we have a dialogue with these people? Can we have a dialogue? Hashtag FY Live at FY Nation. Send me a message. Let me know if we can have a dialogue. I would love to know. I think we can. I think there's still hope for a dialogue. But the thing about the dialogue that we have to have, that I have hope for, is we have to be honest about it. We have to be honest brokers. We can't just say, well, we're not going to teach critical race theory because it harms honky. And it makes honky feel bad. You know? But yet we're going to turn around and talk about white genocide. By the way, it's a thing on the internet. Look it up. I shit you not. It's scary out there. And none of it is particularly funny, unfortunately, for a morning show. But 7 out of 10 believe that we should go in with NATO. And most Americans, another poll, again from the Blaze really kicking ass with the polls today. By the way, they did not actually conduct these polls themselves. I will say that. The Blaze in no time, and no point conducted these polls themselves. They just happened to be the purveyor of them, which is good. Because I wouldn't have found it any other way. But the Blaze has this poll, and this again leads to, yes, I think we could have a discussion. As Americans, I think we can have a discussion. Yale News YouGov poll. The survey of 1,523 U.S. adults was conducted online between 24th of February and 27th and shows a large swing in public opinion against Russia and in favor of Ukraine. 3 weeks ago, before the invasion began, 49% of Americans, said the U.S. should remain neutral, while 40% of Americans should side with Ukraine in a potential conflict with Russia. Now, after millions of Ukrainians have been displaced by the conflict, the pictures and videos of the war have circulated on social media. Adults are more than twice as likely to advocate for siding with Ukraine. 57%, while 25% want to remain like Switzerland, my language. Strong majorities of Republicans and Democrats and self-identified independents say that the invasion of Ukraine was unjustified. Overall, 74% of U.S. adults said Putin's decision to send troops into Ukraine was not justified. I think Pat Robertson is in the 20%, or I'm sorry, the 6% of the justified, where it's okay, and McGregor, 6%, and 20% not sure. Maybe Pat could be in the 20% I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. His whole thing is Jesus is a coming. So there's that. And when your whole thing is Jesus is a coming, you'll make up anything for it to happen. So there's that. 20% overall said that conflict is none of America's business. Though more Republicans and independents said so than Democrats. And what do I say about Republicans and independents being selfish? What? 26% said the conflict is none of America's business. McGregor, if I'm still saying his name properly, I just call him Dickhead. Colonel Dickhead. That fits best for me. Colonel Dickhead fits appropriately for me. Colonel Dickhead is basically just wrong and pig-headed. Americans also appear to be in broad agreement with how the U.S. should respond to the war, with 56% of the survey respondents saying they favor the sanctions imposed on Russia. Even 53% of Republicans said they favor the Biden sanctions, which cut off Russia's government from accessing Western banks and financial markets. Dig at the blaze. The most Americans are opposed to military intervention, 56 agreeing with Biden's vow not to send troops into Ukraine, and only 15% disagree. And they all run some part of the military-industrial complex, I'm sure. Because even Ukrainians are like, dude, we don't want any of this. We don't need any of this. Go away. And they want to just be Ukrainians and live their, what some say is a corrupt and what some say is not, government, and move on. But we can't have any of that now, can we? We're a world that likes to stick their nose into everything. We gotta have our beak in it. We gotta have a say in it. We gotta make a command performance out of every little last thing. And we just gotta push and push and push until the baby's birthed. And if that baby comes out deformed, oh well, it can still live off the mother's tit. Rugged individuals, after all. Sickening. I would like to be more fun. I say that as I talk about the mother's tit and Donald Trump's balls today. I would like to be more fun in this show. But there's nothing to be fun about. We have a climate crisis that we talked about. We have African people from Africa getting tossed off Ukrainian buses as they flee Ukraine. No room for you. I mean, we have a whole lot of shit going on. And it's scary. And it's sad and it's pathetic. And unfortunately, we're at where we're at. And it's an abusive situation, if I ever did see one. I repeat, it's an abusive situation we're in. We're being abused by the oligarchs. We're being abused by the totalitarians. If I could talk. We're being abused all over. And these people like Ron Johnson want to tell you it's Nancy Pelosi's fault for Ukraine. It's Putin. Blame Putin. It's an easy blame here, folks. This is Putin. Putin did this. Putin caused this. To think otherwise, you're fooling yourself. And shame on you for blaming anybody else other than Vladimir Putin and his megalomania for this war. So hashtag FYI Live if you have a comment. Leave a comment in the chat on the StreamYard. We can show your chats if you leave them. We're not big. We're a small little network. We're the little liberals that could. Tomorrow we're going to have Rick Smith on the program. I cannot wait. I'm so scared. I hope I don't scare him away. That's my hope against hope. But if anybody's the ugly duckling, it's me. So I should change my screen name to at Ugly Duckling. I really don't. I really have a low opinion of my body. I really do. And it's all by my own making. Like, the whole thing, if we're being honest about it, is by my own making. I've never been comfortable in my own skin. The closest coming to being comfortable is coming out as non-binary and telling Facebook and the world, yeah, I'm non-binary. Because I've never felt boy, never felt girl, always somewhere in between. And I didn't want to dishonor my grandparents who I was named after, my grandfathers. And I was never girl enough to be a girl, or boy enough to be a boy, for that matter. So uncomfortability reigns supreme. Hashtag ugly duckling. It is what it is. And the funny fact is about me, a little bit of weirdness about me, I have always wanted to be a presenter. Like, when I was little, I wanted to be a cruise director. Basically a presenter without the TV. Think Love Boat. I wanted to be that person. Then got into politics. I wanted to present the news. But I wanted to be Rush Limbaugh. Now I believe I'm the anti-Limbaugh. For all that entails. But the reason I could listen to his show and shows like his were because of the participatory nature. And let's be honest, the Rush Limbaugh show is all about Rush Limbaugh. When it was on the air. There was no, let's see, I'm not quite sure how I want to say this. There was no there. but him. But you wanted to call in and talk to him. You wanted to have a conversation with him. You wanted to know what he thought. He made you want to know. And that's what I hope I do with this show. I hope that with the Nosey Liberal being titled as what it is, y'all get, one, I'm liberal as fuck. And two, I want to know what's going on in your head. Right? The show is about you. The show is not about me, Tom Reynolds. I just happen to host a show and put it on 3 hours a day and bring you all into my little studio now with all the bells and whistles that we got going on when they work. And go from there. Although I will say with the new computers, I am able to fix things a lot fucking smoother than I ever was before, which is awesome. And it's just like, you sit there and you I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this, but you want a dialogue. And I guess this whole show is about dialogue and dialoguing with people. I really love to talk. Like when I'm not talking, I want to talk. And when I was not in a relationship, I am in one now, but when I was not in a relationship, you guys, when we did some say, was my relationship. I hope to replicate that in a larger scale with the Nosey Liberal. Because I want to be able to bring you news and events that happen and talk about them in a way that nobody else will. And I want to bring you stories like from The Blaze and like from Breitbart in venues that liberals don't go. Because we need to know what the fuck they're thinking. Because they're not stupid. They're incredibly bright. Misguided completely. But they're incredibly bright on the right. They just have the wrong things leading them down the primrose path. And so I want to have the conversation. Now, would I be like, oh, I don't know, Jimmy Dore? And have a conversation with a Boogaloo boy? No. That conversation, I don't want to have. I do want to have conversations with people who are open-minded and who might actually agree with me, even though they're on the other side. And that has been known to happen, as scary as it is. And I'm going to get more comfortable doing this in TV form, streaming form, not just as radio. Because I love radio. I'm passionate about radio. I think you can tell that. And I hope to bring you now with the third hour that we're doing, hopefully more intense conversation. And that's all I want to do. Work out the kinks of the program. Get some technical issues finally dealt with. And kick some ass. And take names. And by the way, just because I want to interview people does not mean I want to go for, and I want to make this very clear, I don't want to go for like the Josh Howleys of the world or the Marsha Blackburns or Nancy Pelosi or any of those people. Right? I don't want to go for them. I'm more interested in, like, at some point I'm going to have a conversation, I hope, with the mayor of my town. Now, we're going to play the music real quick because we're coming on the break. So just bear with me. We're just going to do this quick. No break other than to do this. hey, ho, ho. Welcome back to the show. Nosey Liberal here. My name is Thomas Reynolds, and we were having a discussion before I took a little moment. We were having a discussion about, like, I believe it's Cassetti. David Cassetti is his name, is the mayor of my town. And the mayor of my town is a Republican. And I don't agree with him at all. However, I think his heart is in the right place for the town. And he's one of these people. I've called him the Donald Trump of my town before, but that's being disingenuous. He's one of these people who will go out of his way if you're doing something for the town to make you welcome, social media wise, everything. And I think we need people like that on the left and the right. I don't have to agree with them to have a dialogue with somebody. I want to see what they're about. I want to get to know them. I want to understand where they're coming from, and I would love to interview this mayor. And I'm going to work on that this summer. My goal is to have an interview with him in August. I really think it would be fun. Because he is a guy who likes the fancy slogans. He likes the slick advertisement. He likes the branding. He really comes across as a small town Donald Trump. The difference between Dave Cassetti, I hope I get his name right, and Donald Trump is Cassetti actually has a personality, and you don't want to bomb it while you talk to him. Like, you actually gain a bit of respect for him. And I think that we can, as liberals, we have an opportunity, especially nearing World War III, to reach out to our fellow Republicans and see where we can fall in the food chain and see if we can't find some common ground. Because I recall at one point a lot of Republicans were against January 6th. And then they all got glazed over with their eyes and became Trump and zombies. Or Trumpanzees, whichever you want to. Trumpan zombies does not sound as good as I thought. In my head, it sounded better than how it came out. But Trumpan zombies, or Trumpanzees, if you will, they all became them. And I think there is more to the people in the Republican Party than that. And then there's Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson is a party hack. He goes on the Fox News to talk trash about Joe Biden. What else is new? To talk trash about Nancy Pelosi and everyone else down the line. And this should be no surprise here that he's doing this. But it's the way he does it is just
wanting to live
bastardly.
In peace and freedom. But I think we do need to take a look at what all led up to this. I don't think Vladimir Putin would have moved on Ukraine were it not for the weakness displayed certainly by the Biden administration, but also by the West in general. And I'm certainly hoping that Colonel Vindman, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, who use Ukraine as a pawn in their impeachment travesty, are also recognizing, reflecting on how they weakened Ukraine, weakened the West, weakened America by the divisive politics that they play. There's much blame to go around, but in terms of the atrocities, that falls squarely on the shoulders of Vladimir Putin and his cronies. They have to be pariahs from now.
So they have to be pariahs. Ryan Johnson. They have to be. What? Make it make sense. This is all Nancy Pelosi's fault because of impeachment? No, getting impeached was Donald Trump all the way. He got that gold medal. He earned that. He got it twice, in fact, and celebrated and fundraised it off of it. And this is what when I get so despaired and despondent, that they go to the old trough, Nancy Pelosi, this and that, and make Ukraine out to be a victim, the worst kind of victim. When, in fact, there was no victim. The culprit was Donald Trump. They tried to do what they did, and they got impeached. It's as simple as that. And he paid the consequences for it. It's as simple as that. The more people understand that, the better off we'll be. And I wish more people would understand that. But then you got people like fucking Ron Johnson there, acting a fool, and making shit crazy. Speaking of crazy, we got 2 crazy stories and then maybe one more clip. 2 crazy stories and maybe one more clip. But I want to talk about this crazy story first. I saw this story, the drama from this story in Instagram. Oh my God. This Estee Lauder guy. Dude, I can't figure out how to post on Instagram. And we have this guy on Instagram posting racist shit and sexist and misogynist, like running the gambit of assholery. I just can't even. It's like, really, dude? I mean, and good on Estee Lauder for firing him because of his post. Because he should have been fired. But this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. People on the internet think they could do whatever they want in whatever kind of way because they have anonymity, because they have an internet screen name. That means that they could just act a fool. They could just do whatever they want and say whatever they feel. No, there are consequences. There are real world consequences to behaving and acting in a certain way. And there should be. There should be real world consequences. So John Dempsey, 65 years old. He's not going to get another job. And this is the best part. He was a senior brand executive of Estee Lauder. So he was all into the branding. This is the best part of the whole story. I'm so into that branding, I'm going to brand myself out of a job. That's how into branding I am. I'm going to brand my ass right out of a job. All right, so he handled MAC and Clinique, 2 of the company's biggest brands, and worked there for 31 years. And his post mocked his children's book cover, which showed Big Bird at the bedside of Mr. Snuffleupagus, who has a thermometer in his mouth. I'm not going to read it. You can go find the link. Today, John Dempsey, executive group president of the Estee Lauder Companies, was informed he must leave the company effective this week, the company said in a public statement. Dempsey, who reportedly made $9.6 million from the makeup company last year, apologized for his social media faux pas last week, saying he hadn't read the meme before posting it. Dude, you're a brand executive. How do you not read a fucking meme before you post it? Read the fucking meme. Read the meme with the N-word on it. Check it out. Do some due diligence if you want to keep your $9 million a year job. How is this genius paid $9 million a year is what I want to know. How in the heavens did he ever get that kind of money? I mean, senior brand executive? He can't even... His own brand is fucked up. The executive's verified Instagram profile has over 73,000 followers and includes images of Estee Lauder's MAC Cosmetics and Clinique brands, as well as several memes. Dempsey often posts fashion and makeup themed photos, as well as jokey viral memes. Well, this one went too far, didn't it? Read the fucking meme. See, people think this is what I'm about. People think that they can do whatever they want. $9 million man here thought he could just not read a meme according to him and post whatever the fuck and he gets a pass. You fucking kidding me? Pathetic, dude. And the sad thing is, his racial overtones aside, he was lauded for bringing black celebrities like singers Mary J. Blige and Saweetie and Rihanna to the MAC brand. Dempsey also launched the MAC Viva Glam campaign, which raised $430 million to fight AIDS and HIV. Who knew he was a fucking moron? I don't think he's racist. I just think he's a fucking moron. In 2018, he admitted he had a weakness for Instagram. Well, you realize that impulse-driven Instagram world bites you in the ass when you act a fool. It's just so fucking pathetic, dude. We all fall down, but Jesus, you have to hit your head with your own hammer in the process? Because that's what this guy did, this Estee Lauder guy. $10 million a year job he lost. Luckily, he's going to go and retire and he's not worrying about a pension or the ramifications like us little folk of negative Instagram or post or a Facebook or social media post. I have to worry like us little people about the consequences because he still has $10 million. But my God, how he's not even an awful human. That's what, like, I feel bad for him. Like, I started with contempt for this guy, but now I feel bad for him. This Estee Lauder guy, John Dempsey. I feel bad for John Dempsey. My bleeding heart liberal self feels bad for a guy who is worth more than I'll ever be worth in my entire life. And I shouldn't give the time of day. I really shouldn't, because he's a moron. I mean, you just fucking read who doesn't read what they're gonna, like, when you retweet or repost or comment on a post, you are giving it your awareness. What kind of a moron are you that you don't think for a second that maybe this might bite me in the ass later? It's like, just have a thought about it. Just consider that maybe it might bite me in the ass. And somebody's texting me. My apologies. Let's see. So, yeah, I started with contempt for this guy, but now I just realize he's a fucking moron. You know, and brand awareness and brand senior executive, my fucking ass. It's so pathetic. It's so absolutely pathetic that we're here. Can't just read what the fuck you post. How hard is it? When you have 76,000 followers. Again, I don't have contempt anymore. I have pity and self-loathing for this guy. That's where I'm at with this guy. Pity and self-loathing. Unbelievable. I can't. Like, it's amazing the way you have to be. Speaking of self-loathing, Ed Martin, let's talk about him. I want to have a little fun with this guy because the last story we're going to do is going to be harsh. And it's not going to be fun. And it's just going to suck. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this guy. This Ed Martin baggy fella, and we're going to talk about him because I cannot wait to do that. So let's add this video here. And Ed Martin is very upset with Joe Biden. Very upset with Joe Biden, and thinks Joe Biden is a racist. And now I knew, and this is because of, and I'm not going to say the pick for the SCOTUS judge's name because I will just get it wrong, and I don't want to do that. And I have not had time to practice saying her name. But she is eminently qualified for the job and deserves praise and not contempt. But Ed Martin has nothing but contempt for this judge, contempt for her ability, and contempt for Joe Biden, and he is a dick. So here's Ed Martin. We're going to have a little fun with this asshole.
We've ever seen such a racist, sexist, despicable thing as a leader that we saw Joe Biden do with this pick. And I don't mean that about the person that's picked will be great, will be very qualified, will be greatly credentialed. But how is it we live in a world where you can stand up and say, if you're a black man, you may not apply. If you're a Hispanic woman, you may not apply. If you're an Asian man, you may not apply. If you're a white woman, you may not apply. Not even apply. Now, Reagan didn't do it. Trump didn't do it. And they cite Reagan, who picked Sandra Day O'Connor. Reagan said, I'd like to see the Supreme Court have a woman on it, but I'm going to get the best pick I can first. And he did interview. He had other candidates that were in the mix. Joe Biden just said, I'm a racist. I'm a racist such that I will announce that all these other people excluded. It's a terribly demeaning thing for the leader to do.
That's not what he did. That's not at all what he did, Ed Martin. You want to paint it that way for your audience, but that's not what he did. He went and said, this is what I'm going to do. It's about time we have an African American woman on the Supreme Court. And I'm going to guarantee it if I get the chance. He made a pledge. Republicans are constantly making, Ed Martin, Republicans are constantly making pledges. Not to raise taxes, not to kill babies. Republicans are constantly making pledges. Joe Biden made a pledge. You do not like the pledge that Joe Biden made. You are insulted by the pledge that Joe Biden made. Joe Biden made a pledge, and this pledge was very simple for you simple-minded folk. It's about time we had a person of color, a black female, at the Supreme Court. Now, he could have gone about it and done it differently. He could have gone about it, done it differently, Joe Biden, with this Supreme Court pick. But I perfectly, frankly, like the open and frankness that we got from Joe Biden. I'm going to get me a black woman, and I'm going to get me the most qualified black woman, and I'm going to put her on the Supreme Court. Eat that, Republicans. What do you have to say? Well, cue Ed Martin. Cue Ed Martin. Oh, he's a racist, and he's a bigot, and he's because he gave someone other than a white man a chance, an opportunity, and put them in front of the line? That's why he's a racist? Check yourself for a minute. Check yourself, Ed Martin. Joe Biden is a racist? And you're really doing this during Black History Month, too, by the way, which just ended. You're really doing this now. You're attacking her because she's a black woman. And you, in your statement, you dismissed her qualifications. And she's immensely qualified for the position. Immensely qualified for the position. And you just can't handle it. You cannot handle it. And that's on you, Ed Martin. So it's not on Joe Biden. Joe Biden was like, yeah, I'm going to put a strong black woman on the Supreme Court. That's my legacy. And what? What are you going to do? They're not going to do nothing. They're going to nominate her. She's going to be on the Supreme Court. That's leadership. I'm going to do this way, and it's going to happen, and advise and consent, and let's get it over with. This is what I'm talking about with Joe Biden. Not the biggest fan. But when he leads, he leads. Joe Biden showed true leadership with this pick for the nominee for SCOTUS. Joe Biden said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this my way. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put my cards on the table as I do it. And then you'll have the opportunity to advise and consent. And then you could do the advising and consenting, but get on with it. Give me my Supreme Court judge. Donald Trump Donald Trump did it this way. Donald Trump had to get notes and had to take notes from the Heritage Foundation and the Freedom Caucus and from every busybody in the Republican Party to tell him what type of judge to appoint. Donald Trump did not have an original thought in his head. Ed Martin. Donald Trump said, in fact, before the election, he said, look, this is these are the judges I'm going to appoint. These are all the judges that I'm going to appoint and that I'm going to say yes to. That was Donald Trump. I'm going to do your bidding. That's not leadership. That is not leadership. A leader leads. A leader puts down a statement of where we're going and says, follow me. And Joe Biden did that. Joe Biden said, we're going to get a black woman to the Supreme Court on my watch. Drop the fucking mic. Now just watch me do it. And it's going to be done. It's going to be done. It's not going to be like Donald Trump and his lists of married men and married women for the Supreme Court that he did not write. Donald Trump never once looked at a judge and said, you know, I like you. I think you're gonna be the best judge. You're the judgiest judge that what I could find. You're the judgiest judge. No, he was handed a list by his masters. His masters handed him a list. He didn't have any foresight of opinion on where to make the right choice for the job that will be handled in the next 40 years by a justice. Donald Trump didn't give a damn. What do you want me to say? How do you want me to say it? If the bag of money is big enough, I'll do it. That's Donald Trump. That's his brand. Joe Biden is leadership. Say what you want about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is leadership on this issue. Joe Biden said, watch me nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. Hold my beer. And he went and picked the most qualified African American, whose name I cannot pronounce, to save my ass, that you could find. And I'm not going to insult her by trying to say her name. You didn't get it from a list from the Heritage Foundation and every other Republican. No. He said, batter up. Let me hit this ball out of the park. That's what I admire about Biden. I admire a lot of things about Joe Biden, the President of the United States. And then I have strong, equally, things that make me cringe about Joe Biden, President of the United States. I think he too easily, Joe Biden's biggest flaw is I think he's too nice. He's too willing. Hear me out. Joe Biden is too willing to be the nice guy that is everybody's favorite uncle. He's too willing to be that guy. And I'm sorry. now is not the time for that guy. During the campaign, yes, let me see that guy. Bring that person to the table, please. I've had enough of Donald fucking Trump and his megalomania. Joe Biden's biggest flaw is, and going into the State of the Union, he's too willing to say, let's all get along and let's have a conversation. And just like I want to do here at the Nosey Liberal, he's too willing to have a conversation and just go in and welcome everybody. At some point, Joe Biden has to shut the door on people. And I don't think he likes doing that. As a Catholic, I kind of get that from him. I don't think Joe Biden likes shutting the door on people. I think he feels guilty. And I think it bothers him. But sometimes you just have to close the door and open a new door and walk through that one. Like the Supreme Court justice that Ed Martin is so mad about. The Supreme Court justice that Ed Martin is so mad about and so pissy about is very qualified, and you cannot dismiss her qualifications. You cannot dismiss her qualifications. You can emphasize them. And another thing about her, another thing about this woman, and I say this woman in the most endearing way possible because I cannot pronounce her name. This nominee for a Supreme Court justice, everything that I've read about her tells me that she is the type of person that Republicans claim to love. A person who doesn't give up on their family. A person who puts their faith and values first. A person that is willing to fight for the underdog. This woman seems overqualified. It's like when you fill out resumes for a job and you find that you're overqualified for the job. She's overqualified. Let me see if I could get her name. Let me try her name. I am so terrified of saying this woman. Like, I have a slight fear of strong black women. My daughter being one. That being said, the Supreme Court nominee. There we go. Nominee. Let's see. Well, her last name is easier. Her last name is Jackson. But her first name, let me get her. Ketanaj Jackson. Ketanaj G. Jackson. I have to hear it a couple of times to be able to pronounce it. I can't. I'm sorry. But Judge Jackson. We'll call her Judge Jackson. That's easy. And I don't feel like I'm insulting her as I do it. Judge Jackson is racking up conservative endorsements being reported right now. Because Joe Biden said, I'm going to find the most qualified black woman. I'm going to put her on the Supreme Court. That's how he won. That's how he won. He won the primary by saying, I'm going to find the most qualified African-American woman. And African-Americans listened to Joe Biden when Joe Biden said, I'm going to find the most qualified African-American judge and put them on the Supreme Court. And Joe Biden picked Judge Jackson, who is supremely qualified for this job. Nobody can find anything wrong with her. Even what's wrong with her, she acknowledges and moves on. Because it's no big deal. Because she's that good. And it's that important in this time when we have so few judges that we could put onto the Supreme Court. It's that important. And for Ed Martin to dismiss any potential nominee because they're black and black woman, dare I say, is racist. I said we were going to have a little fun with the story, but I guess fun's more of a rant than fun. But we got to beat up Ed Martin anyway. I don't really know the guy, don't really care for him. I feel like Donald Trump talking about my best friend. Don't really know him, don't really care for him. Not my cup of tea. But he is what he is. And I gotta tell you, I'm a lot more comfortable doing the show now. I'm getting there. Wish we had more participants. But we'll get there. I think we will be strong with this show. And again, not for nothing. The show is not about me. The show is about you. Right? I want to be able to hear from you. I want to be able to know what you guys have to say and think about and want to bring to the table. So feel free to tweet me at #FYLive. Always feel free to do that. The tweets are always welcome. And the Patreon donations are always welcome. Very welcome right now with all the bills we have to cover. Because I am bringing in no money right now, as we talked about earlier. So we got war crimes going on, we got drama going on, we got a whole bunch of shit going on. We're going to be here every day with you talking about it because it's important. And I believe in it, and I believe in the show, and I believe in the network. And I think we can move forward. But with your help, I hope, because we do need it. So if you want to pledge to Patreon, we're going to have some new income tiers for pledges that I'm working on. And I hope you will see reason to donate for those. And I think we'll do well in the long run. I think it'll be good. It's gonna be a long road. We're not gonna get there overnight. We're not Tara Devlin. Tara Devlin is amazing. Tara Devlin is out of this world. But I think with perseverance and determination, we will get to a place where we are comfortable and we are able to do a nice little morning show for everybody, because I think it's important. And I think it's justified in this time. And I think that it's needed in this time. So there's that. And I do want to thank my donors. I just collected your money, so it's going straight into the fund to pay the radio station and the streaming app. It will go directly into that. So thank you, donors. We need more if you want to donate. But we got one more story to do. And this one is a doozy. I promised you a tough story. And if you want to leave a comment, definitely leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. #FYLive. if you want to do that. Tomorrow we will have Rick Smith on the show at 10:30, so I hope you tune in for that. Will be awesome to have another liberal voice with me. I love the participation for that, which it entails. But this final story that we're going to talk about really sums up for me where we are in what we need to fix in America. And we have a broken system for people who are in dealing with families. When you're dealing with a family and you're dealing with divorce and you're dealing with abuse, we have a broken system. And the story has been all over the press as of last night because it was another shooting. And it really hurts. Because, not just because of the shooting involved, not just because of that. That hurts. But what really hurts about it is you have this guy who felt that this was the way to deal with the situation. This murderer. He felt that this was the way to end it. He killed his 3 children. And another adult who I really feel bad for because they were just an innocent bystander. The children were, but the adult was just trying to be there for the kids. And they were all killed at the scene. Because we don't have a handle on how to handle domestic violence. And these kids were being watched by another person at a church as a visitation schedule, by all accounts. And the father went and had a domestic incident. And this only hurts the chaperone, hurts the mother. This is intended to go strike at the mother. To kill your children in this way? I don't know what else to describe it other than abuse. This 39-year-old was not identified. There were so many police responding to the scene that they couldn't get ambulances in. And I got to go back to what I was talking about yesterday. on yesterday's program for those who listened. And I got to repeat myself. Because I truly believe this. I strongly believe this. I believe that Ukraine is a victim of international violence. Just as women are and men are victims of domestic violence. I believe that Ukraine is being attacked by somebody who thinks that they can do whatever the fuck they want. Putin believes that he can get away with murder. He believes that he can manage this situation to his liking and get what he wants out of it. Just like this gun violence situation. This guy in this domestic situation decided that he was going to be the most drastic madman you could possibly be, and do it. And he did it. And Vladimir Putin is willing to be the most drastic madman he can possibly be, and does not care about sanctions. Doug McGregor, if that's how you pronounce his name, I don't really care, honestly. But Doug was right on one thing. He's going to do what he wants to do. And the reason he's going to do what he wants to do is because he feels that he can get away with it. He feels that he can go and commit this atrocity, this war crime, in this way. And he's not going to have to answer to anyone for any time and place for there to be a coup. I wish there was one in Russia. I'll be the first to say it. I don't know who would end up in charge. And only the people of Russia would get hurt, unfortunately. But let's be honest about the situation. If we were dealing with this in the way we are, to be honest about this situation, we would be hoping for a coup in Russia. Because I'll say again, the only way Putin is going to be stopped is a bullet in his head. I do not see a way out of this other than violence. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. I'm not a foreign policy expert. But when you're acting, and by all accounts, that Putin is acting crazy and he's not in his right mind and he's behaving in such a manner that this is what he thinks he can get away with. Putin is acting in all these kinds of ways. This is exactly like a domestic violence situation where the lover, in this case Putin, wants the person back in the relationship, and the person in the relationship does not want to be back in that relationship. So eventually the person either ends up killing the person that they want in the relationship or ends up dead themselves. In the case of the California father, he ended up dead because he was a tyrant in his own being. And that's what you're stuck with. And Putin, I gotta say again, this is a domestic violence situation on an international scale. All right? It's really that simple. It's a domestic violence situation on an international scale. And we need to recognize that fact. And the sooner and quicker we do, the sooner we'll help the Ukrainians and help the people who need to be helped out of this situation. I think we'll get there. I think it's going to be a long, hard road. And it's not going to be anything easy about it. But I think we have to stop this madness. I wish I had a solution other than a bullet to his head. I really do. Because I don't want to be right about that. That's the last thing I want to be right about. And it scares the hell out of me that I might be right about that. So, that's where we're ending it shortly. I don't know about you, but I'm scared. I'm scared for my family. I'm scared for the people who are dealing with this situation. I'm scared for all the brave Russian soldiers who are under these orders of madness. It must be terrifying. It must be absolutely terrifying to be a Russian soldier today. That you have to go carry out the whims of a madman. Putin is a genocidal madman, and let's call him for what he is. And you have to be the Russian soldier to be hated, to be carrying out his orders. Otherwise, you're going to be on the slab. And that's your consequence if you don't carry out his orders. You have to have some empathy for these people that are dealing with this. Because I strongly believe that they're doing this with basically a gun to their head. I don't believe that the Russian people are this diabolical. I don't believe the Ukrainians are. I'm sure there are some. We have some in the Republican Party. We have some in the Democratic Party. But I have to separate the two for my own health. Just like you have to hope for the well-being of this woman who lost her entire family to murder and gun violence. It's amazing what we're living and dealing with, isn't it? We're living and dealing with a situation right now that people are suffering in so many parts of the world. And there are people in Yemen and in Syria. Those people aren't being given the time of day right now. And how long is Saudi Arabia and our partner in peace, as Robin Kincaid says, and Russia have been after those pieces of that pie, and nobody's cared. And now we care about Ukraine, and we should care about Ukraine. But we should also care about the other countries that have been equally embattled by Russia and dealt with this issue. It's a horrible place to be right now on the cusp of World War III. But at least we know Jesus is coming back. We can look forward to that. Good old Pat Robertson had to break the glass. He broke the emergency glass and came on the TV to tell us. We got to go back to this one more time. Sorry to do this to your ears. If you thought we were over with and done with Pat Robertson, think again. Because Jesus is coming back, and we all need to know about it. And we need to hear it a little clearer than we did earlier, for sure. So let's get to Jesus is coming back. Just bear with me here as I load it up, because oh my God, just what the actual fuck are we dealing with? Jesus is coming back, and even though Vlad may be crazy, remember, he might just well be crazy. That doesn't matter, because God's plan is the way to go.
In his mind, yes, I guess so. But at the same time, he's being compelled by God. He went into the Ukraine, but that wasn't his goal. His goal was to move against Israel ultimately. And God is getting ready to do something amazing, and that will be fulfilled. And what Putin is doing by moving as he is to set up Ukraine as a staging ground for one of the armies, and then across is Erdogan at Turkey, and you've got between them that little Dardanelles area, and it's going to happen. So I just say that is what's coming up. Is Putin crazy? Is he mad? Well, perhaps. But God says, I'm going to put hooks in your jaws, and I'm going to draw you into this battle, whether you like it or not. And he's being compelled, after the move into the Ukraine, he's being compelled to move again to get a land bridge and then across the Dardanelles with Turkey and watched what's going to happen next. You read your Bible because it's coming to pass.
Yes, indeed, folks. It's a coming. Jesus is a coming. Jesus is a coming. If you believe that bullshit, buy me something on Patreon, please. Oh my God. Really? Jesus is a coming. Come on, really? This is where we're at? We're at Jesus is a coming? And he's so excited about it, too. That's like the worst part. He's so eager. Pat Robertson, he smashed the retirement glass and was like, I got me an emergency. I got to tell the people about Jesus is a coming. It's almost unbelievable. We'll talk about it more tomorrow because I can't get through how excited he is for this happenstance. He's foaming at the mouth for all these people who are going to be suffering and dying and Armageddon. Jesus is coming. Gotta enjoy that. It is sick. It is sick. It is a scary ass thing when you got a guy like him on there basically saying, Jesus is a coming. And never mind that crazy Putin. It doesn't matter that he's crazy. You see, we could give the crazy a pass. And justifies the Jesus. See what I did there? Oh my God, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. He broke the retirement glass to come out of retirement and tell us Jesus is a coming. Pat Robertson, go back to retirement. Please. Take your scary ass self back on a retiree's journey. Go to Israel, something. My God. It really, it boggles my mind. It truly does. Boggles my mind. I won't be able to grasp it for some time. So we're going to have to hear it a couple dozen times. Because literally justifying mass casualties for Jesus. He's getting off on it, man. And then I want to have a dialogue? Am I serious? I should maybe rethink that. Because I might get a crazy person like fucking Pat Robertson on the line. Tell me about how Jesus is coming. And Putin is bringing him in. I just can't. So we came full circle. Back to the crazy. And by the way, that's abusive. Just want to point that out. That's also an abusive relationship. Where you believe that you're going to get your way when all this happens. And the Armageddon and whatnot. Yeah, that right there is abusive. I just thought I'd point that out. And it's also disgusting. You want to believe in God and Jesus and everything else? Be my guest. In fact, I do. But I don't think my God needs all that shit. I don't know. Something superior about my God. Needing all that shit from those lowly humans. Sometimes I feel like the Bible was written by a Ferengi. Just trying to get out the dough. I'm just saying, if aliens were to come, they'd see what we have, and they'd flee the fucking territory. And then nobody but the Ferengi would be down there like, let me cash in on that thing. I'm serious now. Tell me I'm wrong. You can tomorrow. Rick Smith is coming up tomorrow on the show, and we're going to be live for 3 hours every day now. So put on your hats and celebrate because we're the Nosey Liberal, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed making it for you. Bye for now. Stay safe, be healthy, and see y'all later, alligator.